Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're looking at a genuinely incredible story of socioeconomic transformation. We are going to explore how a remote, historically isolated location on the Makran coast of Balochistan was deliberately developed into a premier hub of military education and strategic defense. It's just a fascinating look at how infrastructure, education, and national security all intersect. Okay, let's dive into this, because this question right here is the absolute core of what we're looking at today. For centuries, the coastal town of Ormara was home to traditional fishing communities, with pretty much minimal access to modern infrastructure. Yet today, it stands as a critical launchpad for national leadership and maritime security. So how exactly did that massive shift happen? Section 1. The Coastal Dilemma. The contrast here is literally night and day. Pre-2012, youth from coastal Balochistan faced severe structural and educational disadvantages. Honestly, it was incredibly difficult for them to clear the rigorous selection criteria, like the ISSB testing, required to join the armed forces as commissioned officers. But when the Pakistan Navy moved massive military infrastructure into the region, they realized a vital truth. True maritime security requires uplifting the local population. You couldn't just build a base, you had to build a bridge for the local youth. And that leads us straight into the post-2017 reality. Section 2, Building an Educational Oasis. Look at how fast this timeline progressed. It's pretty remarkable. It started back in 2000 when the Jinnah Naval Base was inaugurated to distribute naval assets away from Karachi. Recognizing the major educational deficit in the area, the foundation stone for the Cadet College was laid in 2012. And get this, the very first academic session began just a year later in 2013 under temporary arrangements. But 2017 was the true coming of age. That year saw the inauguration of a massive, custom-built 700-acre permanent campus. What really cemented its strategic importance was a massive 500 million rupee development grant announced that same year, explicitly linking the college's expansion to the multi-billion-dollar China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, or CPEC. This brings us to the institution's official motto, Binding Nation Through Education. It's a very clear, impartial statement of intent. The goal was never just to build a school, right? It was to integrate marginalized, underserved youth directly into the national socioeconomic and defense frameworks. Section 3, Demographics and Dollars. 415. That is the precise, fixed student capacity of the college from grades 8 through 12. Because the enrollment size is kept this tight, the college actually maintains an elite 1-to-12 faculty-to-student ratio. This ensures highly personalized academic mentoring and strict behavioral oversight for every single cadet on campus. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how the demographic quota system is carefully designed to drive upward social mobility. Fully 50% of all seats are strictly reserved for candidates native to the Balochistan province. Another 25% are open merit civilians from other provinces across Pakistan, and the final 25% are allocated exclusively for naval wards, meaning children of serving or retired Pakistan Navy personnel. It creates this highly diverse yet perfectly balanced student body. Let's break down the economics here, because the financial structure is uniquely tiered. Open merit civilians on the self-finance track pay around 535,200 rupees annually, which actually includes a capital development levy. Paying cadets, typically from armed forces backgrounds, pay a subsidized rate of about 395,200 rupees. But look at that top row. The N-Cadet scheme for underserved Balochistan youth. The cost is absolutely zero. Let's define this crucial scheme a bit more, because honestly, it is the absolute core mechanism for regional transformation here. The Pakistan Navy completely absorbs the cost of tuition, food, housing, medical treatment, textbooks, and multi-seasonal uniforms. They even provide a nominal monthly pocket money stipend credited directly to the cadet's personal account. It literally removes every single financial barrier to elite education for these native candidates. Section 4. The regimented routine. Life here is structured. The entire cadet body is organized into 4 residential houses, operating under a strict cubicle system for junior cadets to build discipline. Each house has its own color theme and core values, which builds deep peer accountability. Jinnah House, in light blue and navy, focuses on leadership. Iqbal House, in deep crimson, champions philosophy and debate. Liaka House, in sky blue, centers on civic responsibility. And Tipu House, in forest green and old, prides itself on tactics and physical prowess. And these colors aren't just for show. Cadets wear specific shoulder flashes to denote their house affiliation at all times. And their days are mapped out with absolute military precision. 0515, reveille and physical training on the square. 0730, straight into rigorous STEM academic blocks and language labs. 1400,
a heavily calibrated lunch followed by a mandatory siesta. 16:15, mandatory sports, obstacle courses, or maritime sailing maneuvers out on the bay. After evening supervised study periods, it's 2200, roll calls, security lockup, and immediate lights out.
To support this intense routine, you're basically running a self-sustaining city in a remote coastal zone. The campus maintains power independence using 60-kilowatt solar grids. Cadets aren't even allowed to wash their own formal uniforms. Instead, a massive centralized mechanical laundry, a dobigot, processes everything on a rigid weekly rotation. There's a strict zero-tolerance ban on smartphones, cameras, and even USB drives. The food? It isn't standard cafeteria fare. It's calibrated by military nutritionists for high-protein, caloric demands. And to attract top civilian teaching talent to this isolated area, the college offers specialized coastal and hard area financial allowances. Section 5. The transformative impact. Academically, all that rigorous STEM focus totally pays off. The college consistently maintains a 100% passing record under the highly competitive Federal Board of Intermediate and Secondary Education. This proves that the academic infrastructure absolutely matches the military discipline. So the crucial point is this number right here. Over 50. Within just a decade of the college's founding, over 50 N-Cadet graduates originating from remote Balochistan districts successfully cleared the intense ISSB testing and were commissioned as operational sub-lieutenants in the Pakistan Navy. This is fundamentally rewriting the economic trajectories of their families and bringing true representation to the coastal belt. And if we zoom out to the macroeconomic reality, this is all about regional stability and global trade. By converting local fishermen's children into high-ranking military officers and educated professionals, the institution is creating the exact skilled local leadership needed to support the multi-billion-dollar CPEC trade routes passing right next door through Gwadar. It's a localized project, sure, but it has a massive national footprint. A former fishing village is now literally producing the maritime leaders of tomorrow. Which leaves us with this final thought. As this newly empowered coastal generation continues to rise through the ranks, how will they ultimately shape the future of national defense and regional prosperity? It's a fascinating reality to watch unfold. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I really hope this gave you a much clearer picture of the strategic transformation happening on the Macron coast. See you next time.